Hello, everybody, and welcome to my first edition of the 2019 season of Basic Predictions by Ian Smith. I'm Ian Smith, and we're going to be talking about this weekend in the NFL. In the simplest terms, my predictions. We're just going to have fun with it. I'm playing Madden 25 right now. I know it's an old game, but I'm going to be talking about my predictions for this weekend while I'm playing this game. So let me just get this set up right now, and hopefully I can do this more often because I feel like I'm really good with football predictions. So as we're getting in the loading screen, because this had us a lot of load times in Madden 25. I'm playing it on PS3, by the way. This is my franchise mode. I'm in like year 20. I'm in like 2030 or something ridiculous like that. It's the AFC Championship game. I'm the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens now. I'm an Eagles fan, so I've tried to make myself as creative as possible. I was the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars for a while, and then I switched to Baltimore Ravens because I try to be like, let me come closer to home since I'm from Delaware. But anyway, we'll talk about Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Carolina Panthers on Thursday night. Now, Cam Newton apparently had like 26 incomplete passes, and they lost to the Carolina Panthers lost to the Buccaneers 20-14. You see, I think Cam Newton is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the league, or if not, him and Kirk Cousins. At least you can say about Cam Newton that he's actually led a team to the Super Bowl, even though that defense did carry that team. But they did have a kind of good offense, but they didn't. And he didn't have very good wide receivers, so he did lead that team. So I'm not just gonna say he's as overrated as Kirk Cousins, but he is pretty overrated. And Tampa Bay is not very good at all. And they actually beat their division rivals, the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. So that's a huge win for Tampa Bay. So they're 1-1 now, and Carolina is 0-2. They lost a close game to LA last week, but that's a big loss for Carolina. Um, that is a big loss for Carolina, and they didn't even score a touchdown. I don't think. Let's see. Yeah, they got 4 field goals and a safety. Yeah, and Jameis Winston, he had a good game. He went 16 for 25 with 208 yards. I mean, it's decent and a touchdown. And Barber, he had a good I mean, he was all right. Yeah, he had like 82 yards. If he's the kind of a grinder type running back, yeah, I could see having a good game. Yeah, that's So, so we'll get to Sunday. So, since we're doing Baltimore right now, Baltimore and Arizona, uh, yeah, I mean, Baltimore killed Miami last week. It was very crazy. You just saw how much Miami didn't care and how much they are tanking. Because they did trade Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, not Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Tannehill. Um, Ryan Tannehill is now Tennessee Titan. So you can see how much they are tanking right now and how much they don't care because I mean just a few seasons ago they were 10-6. I mean they were 10-6 during the 2016 season campaign, and all of a sudden a few years later they're tanking. Um, and Baltimore kind of showed up and proved that their offense wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But then again, it was Miami, so who knows? Arizona, Arizona. Obviously they tied last week. I think this is the easy Baltimore win, especially at home. Um, let's see if Dominic Biggs. Yeah, I could definitely see Baltimore beating all over Arizona. And I mean, it's a 13-point spread, so I don't really see any chance of the upset right there. Baltimore last year after they switched to Lamar Jackson, um, you know, they had a good thing going for a few weeks where they couldn't really be stopped on the run game, and then they got figured out in the playoffs. And I mean, everybody knew they were going to get figured out in the playoffs. But the thing is, when are they going to get figured out this year? Because they have to play two teams that aren't very good to start the season. So we're not going to. I'm not going to say that Baltimore's offense is quite there yet until they actually play a good team. Arizona, obviously they got Kyler Murray and everything, and David Johnson. He did all right last week. He averaged about 4 yards a carry. But I don't see Arizona having any chance of beating Baltimore. Okay.
Loading up with extra defensive backs in the
He's wide open, but it's almost intercepted. San Francisco and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Here's the defense, a unit that works best when it gets to the quarterback.
Jimmy Garoppolo. Oh, he is starting. Okay. He was all right. I think he's another overrated quarterback. They paid him way too much money, and he had 6 wins for San Francisco in 2017. I think he's another overrated quarterback that got paid way too much, way too quickly. And they have Richard Sherman now, who I think is kind of washed up. He did play for Stanford, so that's the reason why he did go to San Francisco, which is understandable. But I don't think he's as good, as good as he used to be. That was actually a good punt. Yeah. The Bengals, they still have. Is AJ Green playing? I mean, if AJ Green's playing, he is gonna. I mean, he's the future Hall of Famer, AJ Green. But I think he's injured. But let's see. He has to be injured. But I mean, Andy Dalton, he had those few good years. They almost beat Seattle, and Seattle's, I can't say that the Red Sox they're kind of like the Red Sox of the NFL. Like, every year, the Seahawks come out, and they're decent. Ever since Pete Carroll took over, ever since the year they won the division at 7-9, they've been pretty dominant every year. I mean, not dominant, but like pretty decent. They field a good team every year, and that's my former player Pablo Parker, who I traded because he wanted way too much money. But anyway, yeah. Pete Carroll puts that on. Their defense is always going to be good, and they almost beat the Seahawks last week in Seattle. So that's notable that the Bengals aren't and Marvin Lewis, he's a really good coach. In the regular season anyway, he's a really good coach, and he knows how to get that team together. So I think, honestly, I think the Bengals are going to win this game. Oh my God, my team can't tackle. Yeah, the Bengals definitely going to win this game. Jimmy Garoppolo, another overrated quarterback. The Bengals, at least their core has been, even though they've been injured a lot, but I think at home, I think the Bengals are going to take this game. And I don't know if it's going to be that close as it's going to be, but I definitely think the Bengals are going to win. I'll say by 7. They're not gonna. They have they're favored by 1 point. I think they have a better chance than that. LA Chargers at Detroit Lions. Detroit has a plus. Chargers only favored by 2 points. They're giving the Lions a lot. I don't think the Lions have been nearly as good as they have since Jim Schwartz left. Matt Stafford's always going to be decent. Even though Matthew Stafford's always going to be decent.
And that's a gain of 10.
You know, I think the Chargers going to come out with another big win. They got a big win in Carolina. Detroit is not as good as Carolina. So I think this is going to be an easy Chargers win. Chargers win by more than a touchdown. They're favored by 2. They're definitely going to win by more than 2 points. Phillip Rivers, even though I don't like Phillip Rivers, not because I don't think he's a bad quarterback, but he is just a whiner, and every time I hate when the Eagles play him because he cries about everything. He's a pain in the ass, really, and I could kind of see it reading from articles written about him that he's not the best character in the world. But anyway, that has nothing to do with it. I just think the Chargers are going to win by more than a touchdown. In Detroit, Detroit tied against Arizona. Those are 2 weak teams right there, Arizona and Detroit. Now we go to bigger games. Let's see. Let me try to do something. Let me put my secondary out there. See if they can stop the Texans' offense. Green Bay and Minnesota. Okay, so Green Bay got a huge win against the Chicago Bears last week. Yeah, they got a huge win against the Chicago Bears last week at Soldier Field in Chicago. Their defense only allowed a field goal to Mitch Trubinsky and depleted. They are depleted offense by the Chicago Bears, and we sacked them. Wow. So even though Chicago's offense isn't very good, that was a good showing by the Green Bay defense, especially on the road in Chicago to open the game or to open the season up. That was a big showing by the Green Bay defense, and I think that's going to be a new thing for Green Bay. And I don't know if Aaron Rodgers. I haven't really followed. I follow the Eagles because I live. I'm a huge Eagles fan, but I don't know about Green Bay. I don't know if their coaching woes, because I know Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy did not get along, but I don't know about their new head coach. Hopefully, not hopefully, I don't really care, but I don't know if things have gone. Their new head coach and Aaron Rodgers is getting along. They only scored 10 points, but Chicago's defense is pretty decent. They're a pretty decent defense, for the most part. The Vikings, they're 2 years removed from an NFC Championship. They had a very disappointing season last season. They started out well, they went downhill. Kirk Cousins is the most overrated quarterback in the league by far. There's no argument there. Let me put my fullback in. There's no argument that Kirk Cousins is the most overrated quarterback. He hasn't even won a playoff game. He just had that one good season where he came out of nowhere, led the Redskins to division championship, lost in the first round to Green Bay in January of 2016. He lost to Green Bay in the wild card in Landover, Maryland. And I can't gain a yard because I'm Chip Kelly, apparently. I still think Minnesota's offense is better, I think, than Green Bay. I don't think Green Bay has a lot of weapons on offense, and I think, and it's a division game too, so I think the Vikings are going to take this game. Wow. He was wide open. I'm not paying attention. I'm trying to read it. So that's 2 opportunities I missed. That sucks. let's see. Yeah, I think Minnesota's gonna take it.
Stiff arm. And the tackle is made at the
It's
41.
probably gonna be a close game. You know, Minnesota's defense is pretty good. Green Bay's defense might be pretty good, but I think Minnesota's gonna take this one on the road. Jacksonville and Houston. Houston has an 8.5 point spread. They almost beat the Saints in New Orleans. That would have been a huge win for Houston, but Houston is the division, the reigning AFC South Division champion.
Handoff. A tackle behind the line.
Yeah, I mean they're favored by 8.5 points, and against Jacksonville, and Jacksonville is like Minnesota is 2 years removed from a championship game in which they lost. They barely lost. Unlike Minnesota got killed. But that was kind of like a happy surprise. Jacksonville was kind of going for it. They had a good defense that season. Jacksonville had a good defense that season. They had Blake Bortles. When Minnesota was kind of a happy surprise. They didn't really know how far they would have went. So Jacksonville was in a weak division, so they took the division easily and won. Blah blah blah. But anyway, they're 2 years removed away from a championship game, and or 2 seasons, I should say. And Nick Foles got injured.
You're watching the NFL on EA Sports.
Nick Foles got injured. I don't think Nick Foles was gonna do good in Jacksonville's offense. Jacksonville's not a very offensive-oriented team ever since they hired what's his name from the Seahawks to take over, and they've kind of went with it, especially when they had Blake Bortles. Oh wow, when they had Blake Bortles, it was a defensive-oriented team, and that's really what led them to the AFC Championship was their defense. Saxonville, and they're kind of like a smash mouth football team, I guess. They have Leonard Fournette and everything. Yeah, they still have Leonard Fournette, but Houston, obviously, Houston's defense is really good. Wow, got a lot. Houston's defense is really good. Sean Watson is obviously pretty decent. You could say he's overrated, but he's a little overrated, but he did prove himself last year. He did win a division championship. They do have DeAndre Hopkins on the offensive side. So it's, and it's a division game, and Jacksonville is obviously, I think, heartbroken, really. They might have since they're defensive orientated, they might have a better chance than people think against Houston, but I think Houston's going to take this one. 8.5 sounds right. I think Houston's going to easily take that. Let's see. Let's try to win. I mean, it wasn't like I was trying to lose, but let's see what we got here. He's wide open. Okay, we got a few yards. Oh, wow, we dropped it. Okay. We're at the 40-yard line.
The Ravens come to the line. First down marker.
We're 0-2. We haven't really. I haven't played this game in a while, but that's no excuse for my poor play. And I got sacked right there. I might go for it. Should I go for it? Should I embarrass myself?
I got the answer right here.
You know what? I think
make the other offense drive the length of the field to score.
Even if I do pick up some yards and I get short,
it's a dime look for the
it's still a try.
Quarterback taking the snap from the shotgun. Makes the catch.
That's fine. Because my defense isn't very good against, we did good the last drive, but especially not being acclimated to this game in a while. And playing it on all Madden, my defense is going
They
to be
come to the line, and
as
it's
good.
first down. They'll run it. Here's the handoff.
Oh, wow.
Tackle down right around the 48.
Anyway.
Well, a short gain on the run that time by the offense. When you're a running football team, listen, there's going to be a lot of ugly plays that don't work. You just got to keep running them.
So we have, next one is pretty easy one, so we can do this while I'm, trying to defend my AFC Championship. Wow, we got a sack. So it's New England and Miami. So Miami got killed by Baltimore last week. Baltimore's offense might be good, but, they played Miami. So Miami is obviously tanking right now, and from multiple sources, they've said that Miami is tanking. So, so we don't know about Baltimore's offense yet. Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens offense is playing Arizona. Again, another weak team, sort of. And now I'm gonna get burned. Oh wow! Second interception for this guy. Wow, that's awesome. And he's injured because why not? Tom Brady, with Josh Gordon, and I think Josh Gordon played last week, if I'm not mistaken, against the Steelers. They killed the Steelers last. Yeah, Josh Gordon played. With that Philip Dorsett, Josh Gordon, they still have offensive weapons without Rob Gronkowski. Especially when Josh Gordon's healthy. Josh Gordon is a really good wide receiver. And having Julian Edelman being your third wide receiver, that's a good thing. Like third, fourth wide receiver, yeah. Let's see. So I think this is easy.
He's looking to the right here on this throw.
Wow, that was good. Miami usually upsets New England once every few years. Not this time. It's an 8.5, 18.5 spread. Yeah, who knows? Who knows how many touchdowns are gonna? I forgot. I accidentally put in my substitute. Whatever. New England is gonna kill.
They're back at the line after
the Dolphins.
For a first down.
It's gonna be a nice,
going to be a tackle for a loss.
Big win for New England. 2 wins in a row.
Good job by the defense. They stopped the offense that time on first down. Now the defense is in a good situation.
Let's see. Let's just run this play real quick.
That was a nice reception, but not enough for the first down. Second down coming up. Looking for an open receiver on the right.
He actually got a few yards.
Let's go now to Danielle
Blaney,
who has an injury update.
Guys, I just spoke with a Ravens official. He's ready to get back on the field, but the staff has decided to hold him out for precautionary reasons. So, guys, his day is done.
This is third down. Here's the handoff, running off tackle.
Dominic Hicks with the first down. 6 for 36 on the ground.
Well, when you get a couple first downs on a drive, it just, of course, it makes
let this run to the 2-minute warning.
It
so our next game we're going to talk about is a division rival of the Eagles. Another. Have we talked any of the division rivals? Not yet. The New York Giants. After in 2016 was it? They won the wild card. They were 11-5. Things were going good for them, and then 2016 where 2017 where the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Everything fell apart after after Jake Elliott hit that field goal. After that field goal, I think everything just started to collapse for the Giants, and they don't have Odell Beckham. They have Saquon Barkley, and Saquon Barkley is a beast. nobody but it was the Browns anyway. Nobody wanted to draft a running back in the first round after Trent Richardson went number 3 overall to the Browns, and he did awful. And then he got traded to the Colts and was awful. And he got traded to the Raiders and was cut before he even played a game. And Saquon Barkley, I think he's changing the trend. He's one of those backs where, like, I say over 99% of running backs need a good offensive line. He's one of that 1% of the 1% that he makes the plays without having to have good offensive line, because the Giants' offensive line is not very good at all. They're getting better, but they're still not very good. And he still somehow finds ways to gain yardage. Yeah, he's an amazing player, and he's going to be running to the ground. I don't know. Hopefully he's not, because he's going to get a touchdown right here. Oh, out at the 1-yard line, and they're up against their in-state rivals. Kind of in-state rivals, because they're New Jersey anyway. The Buffalo Bills, who are led by Wyoming's own Josh Allen, who actually won last week against. They played in the same stadium last week against the Jets, and they won. So I didn't even realize that they're playing in the same stadium 2 weeks in a row, on the road. This time against the New York Giants. So instead of the Jets, and we got a touchdown right there. That was easy. So the Bills got a huge win last week. They're 2 years removed from going to the postseason, where they lost against Jacksonville, and that was a year they had a weak AFC conference. Still got in at 9-7. That was the first postseason berth. Last year was kind of getting Josh Allen acclimated to the NFL and getting a new quarterback. But that was a big win, division win, and I think they're going to get another win. They might go to the postseason if they have a weak schedule. The Bills. I mean, if they get their stuff together, they could see the postseason berth this year. They're playing a division with Miami and the New York Jets, so New England's going to be good, of course. I don't know if New England's going to be as good as they were in previous years. They were only 11-5 last year. But Josh Allen actually led the comeback, and they won last week. So, I mean, I think this is an easy win for Buffalo. I think they're riding high now, and I think, especially playing on 2 games in a row at the same stadium on the road, I think they're pretty comfortable right now. They're gonna, and we got another sack. Foot's asleep.
That's an excellent job by the defense. Just gets quick penetration in there, hits the quarterback, and gets the sack. That clock keeps moving.
How many games we have left? We still have a few more. Let's just make sure this goes to halftime, and then we'll go to the next games. Yeah, Buffalo doesn't even have LaShawn McCoy anymore. But then again, LaShawn McCoy is getting old at this point, and I think, since they got Josh Allen, I think they want to move in a younger direction. So that might be why. That might be why they got rid of LaShawn McCoy. But now he's back with Andy Reid in Kansas City. He might be a future Hall of Famer if he has a few more good years, but who knows? I still see Buffalo winning by, I think they're going to have an easy win against New York. I mean, they're only favored by 2 points. I think they're going to win by more than that. At least a touchdown.
And we'll head to halftime.
So we're winning 7-3 in the AFC Championship game.
Here in this one, which is brought to you by Verizon.
So hopefully we'll go to another Super Bowl. And we have 7 more games left to discuss.
back here now in this one where the Ravens lead by 4. Let's check in now with Danielle Bellini from the sideline.
We don't get the ball back, but our defense has actually been kind of decent.
During halftime. He considers his guys lucky to still be in this game.
And these are all made-up players, by the way, because we're far in the future. This is like the 2030 something AFC Championship game, and I've said that a few times. But anyway.
We've got to do a better job protecting the football. The football is
so it's rematch of Super Bowl 40, the Jerome Bettis Bowl, Detroit, Seahawks at Pittsburgh Steelers. They say the Steelers are favored by 3.5.
Second half gets rolling now as he takes the snap.
The Steelers got killed last week. I don't think the Steelers are, they don't have Le'Veon Bell anymore. They don't have Antonio Brown anymore. I don't think. And the Steelers, they collapsed at the end of last season.
It's now
yeah, we need
second down and
do
7
cover 2
after
instead.
the 3-yard rush. The quarterback throws to the right.
Good job that time.
They collapsed last season. They started out this season very badly. I don't think the Steelers are with it. And you're saying that they're favored over the Seahawks, who won a playoff game last season, and got a big win at home.
From the gun. He makes the catch. That'll put them in what we call plus territory.
Yeah, the Seahawks are, the Seahawks games are always close, but they're going to win.
That time, nice job by the offense getting the first down, even though they're losing here in the game.
They've got a first down now after that catch.
There's something wrong. Oh, I don't know why you won it, but yeah.
Eyeing that left side. Just had to avoid the sack. Incomplete.
Not a good job that time by the quarterback. You see the cover 2 defense. You got to know where to throw the football. He did not, and that's why the ball goes incomplete.
Yeah, the Seahawks, their games are always close, but they're gonna win. I feel like they don't feel as close as they are, but the Seahawks always pull it out.
But now
usually,
into the backfield. Second and 10.
Just because their defense is usually pretty on top of things, even without the Legion of Boom there.
These type of situations, when you're losing the game, it's third
their defense is still pretty
with it. Because when you try to be a hero,
so I say an easy win.
Then you really will be in trouble.
They're gonna win by. Easy win. Like they're gonna win by a few points, but it's gonna seem easier than that. Like they're gonna.
Graham's playing out of position in the backfield here. Third down and 10. Into the open flat. Runs out of bounds.
That was terrible. Okay.
Jim, this time it's a
I can't believe we did that.
Nice job by the quarterback. The halfback, good job after catching it. Picked up some good yards.
So that's, I picked another road team to win.
First down,
a lot of road teams.
The long play. First and 10. Hand off to the back.
Good job
and I think I'm gonna
squaring up that running back and
another road team. I'm gonna pick the Colts. I think the Colts barely lost last week. Yeah, that was. For some reason, I thought the Chargers played the Panthers. Or maybe is that this week? Who did Panthers play last week then? Was it a team from California?
After the 2-yard carry, it sets up second down and 8. And he's thrown to the ground.
Yeah, it was. It was the Rams. Okay. It was a team. That's. I thought they. Yeah. Okay. Never mind.
The defense was blitzing that time. Doesn't make a quick enough decision, and the defense gets there and gets the sack.
So they almost beat the Chargers.
The Texans need to get to the 18.
They almost beat the Chargers.
On the way,
and the team, they had a great end to the season last year. They won.
Throwing now to his left. That reception.
And Andrew Luck was a big part of it too, and he retired. But I mean, it is a team sport, and they came back.
The offensive coordinator's got to call a play.
You know, they didn't call stupid plays like I just did on the defense right there.
His team is down. He needs a big
you know,
play.
they won, I think, was it 8 out of the last 7 out of the last 8 or something. They really dominated that last half of the season, and they won a playoff game in Houston. They almost beat the Chargers last week. And who's their quarterback? Is it the former what's the name?
Here in the red zone.
From Jacoby Brissett from New England.
Yeah. Down as they go ground here. Nice
that was scary. Jacoby Brissett, hopefully, I mean, maybe he'll get more acclimated. They're in Tennessee. Tennessee, I think, they think they're going to win because they beat the Browns, but I think everybody was way too high on the Browns. Everybody had to come back down to earth and realize it's the Browns. They're still, even if they do have good players now, they still have to get acclimated and everything. Tennessee won in an upset in Cleveland. So now they think, oh no, Tennessee's good to beat. Tennessee's all right. They make the playoffs, or they made the playoffs 2 years ago. They almost made the playoffs again last season. But I mean, I think the Colts are. The Colts are better team than people think they are. Andrew Luck was a big part of their team, but I still think the team's good. And I think the Colts are going to win. I think they're going to win a close game. They're going to win a close game in Tennessee. Marcus Mariota, he's all right. And, Tennessee's all right. I'm not saying Tennessee's terrible, but, Tennessee's a good team, too. I just think the Colts are better. That usually happens sometimes. Sometimes the division is sometimes very bad, and then it gives the teams time, I guess, to prepare, and then in a few years, all of a sudden that division is very good for a few years. I can see that happening with AFC South. I can see Tennessee getting better. I can see the Colts getting better. And the Texans, I think the Texans finally got over the hump with Bill O'Brien, because I thought they were very mediocre with Bill O'Brien, and I feel like last year they finally got over the hump once they got Deshaun Watson and they played a full season with him.
Offense lines up here, 1st and 10, takes it from the strong eye. They break through, tackle him behind the line.
But I don't know how better they're going to get, honestly. It's going to be hard to It's going to be hard to tell how much better Houston is going to get. But that's an interesting division. For the future, anyway. Even this year, maybe.
Left side.
Damn. That was a good run.
That's what you want to do. Just get a first down, especially when you're
Jacoby Brissett. The Patriots somehow find really good quarterbacks out of nowhere, and Jacoby Brissett is no exception. I said Jimmy Garoppolo was overrated, but I didn't say he wasn't good. He's still a decent quarterback. I just think he hasn't really proven himself and got paid all that money. Jacoby Brissett is another Jimmy Garoppolo basically, and and I think the Colts are a better team than the 49ers. They've lost what's his name last season, and you saw what happened to
looking to the right side and throwing. Not giving up.
They completely collapsed after Jimmy Garoppolo got injured last season.
Take a quick break as the third quarter
they had no idea what to do.
Here in downtown Baltimore, Maryland.
They were a mess.
Now in the red zone. This play set up by the long gainer.
Okay.
Here is the first snap of the final quarter.
That was close. That was a good run. Now the next game. Here we go. Dallas and Washington. Dallas came back and they put a beating on New York. They reminded New York that, you know, of their sad state that they're in last week after they New York took an early lead, but you know it quickly came back to reality. You know, and it's hard for me to pick these division games because I am an Eagles fan and I am biased, but it's easier when it's division against division. It's the Cowboys at the Redskins.
They better pick it up if they think they're going to stop
this offense. Redskins, you know, they had a good first half. You know, they had a good first half against the Eagles, and you know, they benched Adrian Peterson. You know, people in my life directly did not like the, you know, either they're Eagles fans, but I think that's, you know, I think he's pretty old, you know, and you're trying to get younger players acclimated in the system. So I kind of like that move, and even though, especially he knows that they're not going to be contenders, so why not try to get your young people in there and get acclimated into the system? You know, I completely 100% agree with Jay Gruden for doing that, getting his young players in instead of, you know, playing Adrian Peterson. Yeah,
lined up now
I completely agree with that, and I completely messed up this kickoff.
Always a threat, and he'll start his return now.
Yeah, so
as we've got a player down on the field.
You know, they say the Redskins' defensive line. You know, I don't think the Redskins' defense is very good. Their offense, you know, it's all right. You know, Jordan Reed, he's a good player. They have a few underrated wide receivers.
Incomplete, almost going in the other direction.
But Dallas, you know, Dallas's offense is, you know, something to contend. You know, they have a really good offense. You know, you have to give them props. Ezekiel Elliott, he's a good running back. Dak Prescott, I think he's overrated. Zeke's good. Okay. They have Amari Cooper and Jason Witten. You know, they still have some offensive weapons. Their defense is definitely overrated. Oh my God! Can't believe it. That's fine. Get the ball back. I'm not really that worried, especially you know, been getting better through the game. You know, Dallas is easily going to take this game.
That's a good touchdown by the offense there, and you know, and what it's done, it's gotten this game closer. Gives them confidence, and confidence is a dangerous thing. We'll see if they can keep moving forward after this.
They'll get set, looking to convert on this 2-point try.
You know, Washington, I think, came back to reality after that second half against the Eagles. You know, they kind of collapsed.
That hurts. The 2-point
but that's fine. I mean, you know, they're not a good team, and you can't blame James Gruden for that. I mean, it's all the general manager's fault.
They'll get the football back here. Scores 14-12.
I kind of agree
to get out to the 20, and he is
with not re-signing Kirk Cousins.
At the 15-yard line.
I would have gone with Alex Smith, honestly. You know, I think Alex Smith is not as old as people think he is. He came into the league actually a really young age.
And a running play. Tackles made.
And he got pushed out by Patrick Mahomes, which is, you know, understandable. You know, they needed a franchise quarterback there in Kansas City. And now he got pushed back by Dwayne Haskins. And I don't know about Dwayne Haskins. He might be another patch.
It's now 2nd down and 10. He's brought down at the 20-yard line.
But you know, they had a decent run last season before Alex Smith got hurt. You know, they had Alex Smith and Adrian Peterson on the same team. So, oh my lord,
unstoppable.
That's funny.
All the way home and all alone.
So, it's kind of weird that they're, but at the same time, yeah, I completely understand why they're revamping their team, because obviously the team is not good enough to contend. And Dallas is half-assing it. That's what I don't think Dallas's defense is really good. There was a few people that said Dallas's defense is the best in the league, and that was the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever heard. That Dallas's defense is the weakest part of their team. I think their defense is designed for, you know, they're centered around Sean Lee, especially when you have a defense centered around a linebacker who gets injured all the time. You know, these days, you can't, I don't know, a defense centered around linebackers is not very good because it's a passing league now, especially, it's passing every single week. It's more passing.
Split backfield here. Here's the running play. Off tackle.
So I really don't understand it.
It's not a first down, but it sends a message. It shows everybody that you can run it when you want to, and also it opens up so
I'm really
many
interested to
things
see
for your offense.
because you know, last year's games were really close between the Eagles and Cowboys. Oh my god.
He's tackled at the 30.
Boy, after watching that long run, I'm winded. That was a nice job by the running back. Good job up front, sustaining the block.
So we're going to go to Kansas City and Oakland. Another rivalry. This is the first of the 4 o'clock games. I don't know if this is a national one or not. Which one should it be? I'm assuming New Orleans and Los Angeles is going to be, this is a rematch of the NFC Championship, but Kansas City and Oakland. You know, Kansas City got LaShawn McCoy back. You know, they're trying to get weapons that haven't done any sort of sexual assault or anything. You know, Kansas City just needs their defense to be better. I think they've improved their defense a little bit, but you know, defense wins championships, and last year they lost in the AFC Championship because of their defense. You know, when Andy Reid first came into, their defense was really good, and then slowly, surely, their offense was the dominant one, and you can't have that. You can't have an offensive or defensive-oriented team, because the whole team should be, you should make your whole team good, not just one part of your team good. And I really don't like it when teams do that, or when they try to,
First down here after the
one platform team. You only have
the quarterback will hand it off. The tackle is made, and you can see how they fared.
But Kansas City's, you know, Oakland's a mess. John Gruden, you know, he's all right, but I don't think Derek Carr is getting
on offense with time beginning to run out. Running to his right, and that's a 2-yard gain.
I don't think Derek Carr is getting progressed properly.
Good job by the defense that time.
Or developed properly. That was the word I was looking for. He's not getting developed properly under
in the red zone.
John Gruden. You know, John Gruden, he's
and the defense is trying to preserve this win. Just 2 minutes left in this one now. Back in a moment.
Jim,
it's a very easy win for Kansas City. Kansas City's offense is just, even without Tyreek Hill and Kareem Hunt, their offense is still second to none.
This game is closing in on a finish, and the defense can make one play and basically end the game.
So next is Chicago and Denver. Denver's one of the biggest collapses. They won the Super Bowl 2015, and they've had the worst luck with quarterbacks. Paxton Lynch and Trevor Siemian. You know, Paxton Lynch is a joke. And now their team is in shambles, honestly.
2nd and goal from the 2. We'll run it with him again. He's going to be swallowed up behind the line.
What's the flag for? Oh, my Lord.
The defense will not decline. They will take the penalty. The offense heads to the line for the 7th play of the drive. 2nd down and 12. Set up screen. Touchdown, Ravens.
Wow. Anyway. Denver's a complete mess. Chicago, you know, they lost a bad game. You know, they had a very bad offensive game to Green Bay. Green Bay at home. But I think this week they're gonna get their offense together. Matt Nagy and Chicago are gonna definitely beat up on Denver. It's another road team I'm gonna pick to win. I really don't think it's gonna be as close as 2.5. I think Chicago's gonna break out more, and they're gonna definitely beat Denver.
Looking for an open
Oh, wow.
They convert it here on the 2-point try. The Texans have fallen behind late, and now they're desperate. The score's 22-19.
Okay, so New Orleans
He's a
and
dangerous returner, and he'll have a chance to show you right here.
New Orleans and the Los Angeles Rams. Now, New Orleans is traditionally a really good home team. They're not as good as on the road. Remember last season when they went to Dallas and they lost 13-10? And yeah, their offense completely shut down when they went on the road.
Here in the 4th quarter.
That was just one example, but there was a few. Not every game that they were on the road, but and them at Tampa Bay, that was another one. Their offense, even though they won that game, their offense was terrible. That was later in the season. No, both of those games were later in the season. You know, they're on the road in Los Angeles. I don't see New Orleans having that much of a chance. You know, they barely beat the
and he was wide open. The tackle was
last
made,
week.
But
Just
down is picked
thought
up.
of them.
They're going to the hurry up, back to the line.
They barely beat the Texans last week at
all
home.
The way to the right side.
I don't think they'll have a chance against
challenging the defenders to the right side.
I don't think they'll have a chance against the Rams in LA. I think the Rams definitely don't win this game. Negative, 2-point favorite sounds about right. Let's see if I can seal this victory.
Graham's in the slot receiver role for this upcoming snap from the gun. Trying to work that left side. Brings it in. He steps out.
Damn it.
Good job by the quarterback that time. He didn't take the bait. He didn't throw it down the football field. He threw it short to the open receiver, and we've seen it so many times.
We might go to overtime.
Throw it to the guy is open and see if the defense can make the tackle.
Takes the stab from the shotgun. Working that left side. Good throw and good catch right on the sideline.
Wow.
This doesn't look good. We've got a player down, and he's in pain.
Always hard to guess what the injury is, but and don't like to speculate, but I think it's pretty apparent it's an upper body injury. We'll let you know when we find out.
It's a booth review. Let's see if the booth reviews never work. Like, the physics in this game are so stupid. But yeah, you can't really tell at all. Like, and even if it is clear, like, they won't change it where it's like, it's always the opposite call, like, of what it should be.
After review of the play, the ruling on the field stands.
Yeah.
Inside of 2 minutes, so that review came from upstairs.
So we're gonna talk about the Jets and
yeah, it was the right call, but you know what?
Jets and the Browns.
Now it answers the question to the coaches, to all the people watching the game at home, and the fans in the stadium. The right call was made on the field.
Makes the reception.
Lord.
Gains 19. The Texans call a timeout. Their first.
As long as we get the ball back, I won't care, honestly.
They're back at the line after that catch for a first down. First and goal from the eye. They give it to the deep back. And they'll try to conserve time here with this timeout.
Cleveland and New York. So, again, I think people are disillusioned with Cleveland's new players. They're on the road against the Jets.
Second and goal from the 8 to the ground here.
Okay, we get the ball back.
His way across. Touchdown.
That was really a good job by the quarterback that time. Just
I'll have to
executing the
concentrate.
drive, not taking
Yeah,
any chances,
so
and
I
they just
think
systematically
the Jets are going to
march
win.
down the field and get the go-ahead touchdown.
They have Sam Darnold, don't they? The Jets?
The Ravens
yeah, they have Sam Darnold.
Squandered the lead here near the end, and now they must make something happen. The score is 26-22.
Yeah, I don't really see the.
They come out in the dime package.
I think people are very disillusioned with the Browns.
Drops back, play action. Had it for a moment, but the ball is knocked
Wow.
out incomplete.
Dude.
The Ravens have saved all 3 of their timeouts for here in the fourth quarter. Perfectly thrown. He's brought down. The Ravens are going to burn the first of their 3 timeouts right here.
Yeah, the Jets, they have Le'Veon Bell, like, and Jamison Crowder, like, and it's gonna be
just
even
25
though
yards to
the
pay
what
dirt. Let's see how they
the Browns
back
got their
up
new
the big
players.
play
I
here.
really think the Jets are.
He'll throw it over the middle.
Oh my God!
Touchdown.
I actually did it. That's pretty incredible. I definitely think the Jets are going to win this game. It's definitely going to be another upset for the Browns, or upset for the Browns. And then we'll go to the Eagles game.
From the red zone to the end zone with only 1 snap to go, and they pull it off.
Congratulations to the offense, but I know the defense is going to be sick when they watch the film of this. They didn't take a chance. They played very passive. And
so, the last game is the Eagles and Falcons, and it's hard because I'm an Eagles fan, so I'm biased, but I have to say, it's going to be a tough game because I think the Falcons are better than people say they are. You know, the Falcons didn't make the playoffs last year. They were one of the few teams to make the playoffs after losing in the Super Bowl, because for some reason, if you lose the Super Bowl, you're not making the playoffs next season. The Falcons actually bounced back and they made the wild card and won a playoff game against the LA Rams in LA, and they of course lost to the Eagles in the NFC division game. They seem Julio Jones is a very good player. They just can't seem to get in the end zone. And I think the Eagles' defense is going to be a little more acclimated. So, and they've seen Julio Jones every season. They've played the Falcons. This is the 4th year in a row that they've played the Falcons. 2016, 2017 playoff, 2018, 2019.
But then to sit back and think,
no, 5 years in a row.
Going to the
But
Super Bowl.
this is the 5th year in a row we're playing them. But
sometimes when you think of the good stuff that the game can bring.
That was the Chip Kelly era. So we don't care. That was a different coaching staff. But this is the 4th year in a row that the Doug Peterson era is playing Falcons. 5th year in a row altogether. I think they're going to see Julio Jones, and obviously the Falcons don't have any new threats for the Eagles defense, but the Eagles have new threats for the Falcons defense, which is Carson Wentz, who the Falcons haven't seen since 2016, and Deshaun Jackson. So the Falcons are in for some, in that second half. I think the Eagles are just going to keep rolling with it. I think the Eagles' offense is going to be pretty electric, and I think that's going to be the story of the season for the Eagles. So for my final predictions, I'm going to say Baltimore is going to win 40-14 over the Arizona Cardinals. The Cincinnati Bengals are going to win 20-16 against the 49ers. The Chargers are going to win 27-13 over the Detroit Lions. The Minnesota Vikings are going to win 14-7 over the Green Bay Packers. The Houston Texans are going to win 33-13 over the Jacksonville Jaguars. The New England Patriots are going to win 55-6 over the Miami Dolphins. The Buffalo Bills are going to win 23 they're going to win 23 to 17 over the New York Giants. The Seattle Seahawks are going to win 13 to 7 over the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Indianapolis Colts are going to win 27 to 21 over the Tennessee Titans. The Dallas Cowboys are going to win 36 to 17 over the Washington Redskins. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to win 48 to 14 over the Oakland Raiders. The Chicago Bears are going to win 23 to 3 over the Denver Broncos. The Los Angeles Rams are going to win. They're going to win 30 to 20 over the New Orleans Saints. The Jets are going to win 25 to 16 over the Cleveland Browns, and I say the Eagles are going to win. I say the Eagles are going to win 34 to 24 over the Atlanta Falcons, and those are my predictions for Week 2 of the 2019 season of the NFL. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next week.